Hello and welcome to RStories. There's titles and timestamps in the description. Let's begin with the first one with the title, I think a guy at the bar drugged me. For context, I am a 25 male and recently I started going to this gay bar in my city. I've never really been into bar settings before now and I've only gone a few times, usually by myself after work. This past weekend I went to a gay bar in the downtown area of the city. I sat down at the bar and ordered a cocktail. Around 20 minutes went by and this younger guy came and sat down next to me. He had dark brown hair and glasses and appeared to be in his mid-20s. He didn't say anything to me, just ordered a beer and a double shot, and sat quietly sipping his beer. After a few more minutes, he finally spoke to me. He said, "So, do you come here often?" I told him that it was my first time and I don't normally go to bars. He asked me other questions like if I was by myself, what my sexual preferences were, etc. I was happy to be getting the attention from someone and he honestly didn't seem like a bad person at all. We ended up talking for a while over several cocktails and then he paid his tab and he said, "Wanna continue this over at my place?" I thought, yeah, why not? And I went with him to his apartment. Once at his apartment, he offered me a seat on his sofa and began to immediately feed his fish. Yes, he started to give off serious Dahmer vibes at this point, but hadn't done anything alarming yet. He offered me a drink and I accepted and he went to his kitchen and came back a couple of minutes later with two mixed drinks that he said was just vodka and Sprite. He turned on YouTube on his PlayStation and put on some old R&B from the 90s and started asking me more questions like what I did for a living, what my hobbies were, and eventually his questions got more personal and sexual. Eventually, I got really tired and became extremely light-headed. I slumped over on the arm of the sofa and when I woke up I felt dazed and confused and I was still on his sofa. He was standing over me, just watching me, and he had a knife in his hand. I was so out of it that I couldn't really react, and I just remember saying, "Don't stab me, please." And then he said, "I'm not going to, I was just playing around." He set the knife down and he helped me up off the sofa. Then he called me an Uber and I got a ride back to my parents' house. I have not seen him again since and never even exchanged contact info with him. I didn't file a police report either, since I can't really prove anything and I know the cops in my city won't do shit. I just really hope I don't meet this weirdo again. Please people, if you go out to bars or clubs, be careful who you trust and always go with a friend or relative or someone you know and trust. That is a terrifying story. I've seen the Dahmer series and it's just impossible to know if this is just a made-up fan fiction story. It could also might as well be true. You know, there are a lot of sick people out there and this could be one of them. If it is, I hope this guy go to the police and do what he can to stop this person. Yo, file a police report anyway. Give them his description, he might have done this to other people. Seems like he was contemplating doing it before you became conscious and scared him off. I don't go to bars that often anyway for this reason, but I will submit a tip to the bar and police because I am worried he'll do something like this to someone else. His whole attitude after I woke up and saw him with a knife was very much like, "Haha, it was just a prank, bro." And he even made a joke about the Dahmer Netflix series. Then when he called the Uber, he was very pushy about me leaving and pretty much rushed me out and said his roommate will be home soon, so I needed to leave. Am I the butthole for shaming my friend's culture? I, 24 male, have a friend, 27 female, who is really into grounding. I don't know exactly what that is, but it involves being barefoot everywhere you go to feel connected to the world or something like that. I do think this is strange, but I try not to pass judgment or make any comments. The issue is that she's been complaining about foot pain and recently went to the ER. I had to practically force her to the hospital because she refuses modern medicine because she's sort of a hippie. At the hospital, she got diagnosed with trench foot. If you don't know what this is, it's where your foot becomes spongy due to unsanitary conditions. It's incredibly painful and you should not be getting this if you bathe regularly. When I found this out, I honestly got really grossed out because it's actually insane to have gotten that. I told her I was really gross and she needs to start wearing shoes to avoid this. She got incredibly angry at me and said I was disrespecting her lifestyle and her supposed culture. Am I the butthole for saying that about her feet? I feel like I could have said it in a nicer way. I just think the whole situation is absurd. Not the butthole. I know people who are into grounding and many of them also bathe their feet in salts and oils, etc. There's a difference between doing something that is ceremonial and spiritual and healthy, and not taking care of your hygiene. I could be wrong, but I guess from experience it's not a specific culture or religion, but it's a part of a few spiritual practices. She does need to take care of her body or it will return sooner than intended. Not a butthole. Grown adults with access to proper amenities shouldn't be getting trench foot. This sounds like a caveman behavior. If that's her lifestyle choice, that's fine, but you don't have to support someone who is being willfully negligent with their health, let alone be guilt-tripped into thinking it's acceptable. My wife won't let me make decisions about my body. My wife and I are high school sweethearts and have been married since she graduated high school. We decided about 2 years ago that we were ready to start trying for a baby. Everything up to this point in a marriage was great. She was the perfect partner, supportive and caring. Everything has changed the last year. We have been trying for a baby for a little over 2 years now, with no luck. After the first year, we followed the general advice that something may be wrong, so we started going to fertility doctors. We have both been tested inside and out and there is nothing found as a reason why we aren't conceiving. It seems that she may be blaming me for this, which probably explains her behavior towards me. In the last year or so, she has made me stop drinking caffeine, so no coffee, tea, energy drinks. Even though the doctors advised that caffeine intake for me should be fine as long as it's below 400 milligrams a day. She has made me stop taking my prescription medication, she now controls what I eat, she makes our meals. But for example, last night I wanted an extra slice of pie and she said no. For the record, we're both fit and slim. When I push back and say that I depend on caffeine to get through my day or that I really want to take my meds to keep my skin condition under control, or sometimes I really just want an extra snack after a long day, I met with, "You shouldn't do that. It can have a negative impact on us conceiving. Don't you care about starting a family with me? If you did, you should try everything in your power to help. Even if it's a small chance that it's right. Wouldn't you want to do that for us?" I can understand where she's coming from, and I acknowledge that she's also giving up things. But after more than a year of giving up these things, I am miserable. I miss my caffeine. I miss my clear skin. I miss being able to choose what I do. I feel like I have lost the agency over my own body, and when I try to vocalize this and stand up for myself, I'm always met with the same guilt trip. I just really needed to vent, and I hope that someone out there who maybe has similar experience can help me cope or give me some solid advice. Thanks for reading this. You guys need to stop trying to conceive. Get into couples counseling and your wife needs individual therapy. She is not handling this well. It's understandable to be upset, sad, whatever have you over this. But her reaction is not okay. You have to stand up for yourself, ignore the guilt trip and tell her that you won't be trying to conceive until you guys sort this issue out. Red flag, red flag, red flag. Why do so many people try to control their SO's medication? I'm not a doctor, and even if I were, there's no way in hell I would try to control a girlfriend's medication. In addition to the other advice in this thread, talk to your doctor about your prescription immediately. And that was all for this video. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and thanks for watching.